Namaskar, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and ready to embark on a fascinating journey through geography and environmental knowledge in Indian tradition. Today, we will talk about the ancient India's blueprint for soil and ecological harmony, reviving Vrikshayurveda, Krishi Parashara, and tribal wisdom. Long before the term sustainability existed, India's farmers perfected the art of working with nature, not against it. Today we will unearth how texts like Vrikshayurveda around 1500 BCE and tribal traditions created a circular economy of soil health and biodiversity. So, what will be the objectives of this lecture? By the end of this lecture, learners should be able to understand the concept of soil conservation, explore ancient Indian agricultural wisdom, identify traditional soil conservation methods, analyze water management strategies for soil conservation, understand the ecological and cultural ethics of ancient farming, draw parallels between ancient and modern sustainable practices, encourage revival of indigenous agricultural knowledge. Let's explore the core principles. Imagine walking barefoot on fresh soil. Can you feel its warmth, its texture, its energy? What it is? Ancient Indian wisdom saw soil not as a lifeless medium but as a living, breathing entity. Bhoomi Mata, Mother Earth. Even the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad reminds us soil is a living entity. But what keeps soil alive? The fivefold balance: Bhoomi, soil, Jal, water, Vayu, air, Agni, sun, and Akash, space. Just like our body needs balance, so does the land that feeds us. Prithvi, earth or soil. In ancient Indian farming, Vrikshayurveda, written around 1500 BCE, classified soil types and detailed fertility boosting rituals. Even today, these insights guide sustainable farming. Time tested practices include organic manures, in which farmers enrich the soil with cow dung, that is gomaya, compost, and crop residues, echoing modern organic farming. Contour farming includes the terracing seen in Himalayan kheti is an age-old technique to prevent soil erosion, something even modern conservationists advocate. Now, there is seed selection in which ancient farmers chose crops wisely. Cotton thrived in black soil, while loamy soil suited rice cultivation. If we look for its modern connection, today's regenerative agriculture emphasizes soil health, echoing the respect our ancestors had for Bhumi Mata. Their wisdom was not just spiritual, it was deeply scientific. Now we will see the importance of Jal. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world without water. Hard to do, right? That's because Jal hi Jeevan hai and water is life. But our ancestors did not just use water, They understood it as a cyclical resource flowing through nature in perfect harmony. Ancient Indian wisdom treated water with deep reverence and scientific precision. They designed indigenous systems to store, conserve, and distribute water sustainability, ensuring no drop was wasted. Now let's discuss traditional water conservation practices. We will start with rainwater harvesting. The first example is airy tanks in Tamil Nadu. These interconnected reservoirs collected and stored monsoon rain for year round use. The second example is khadins in Rajasthan, an incredible desert technique where earthen embankments trapped rainwater, allowing it to percolate into the soil for slow and sustained release. Now, talk about the micro irrigation practices. The first example is bamboo pipes, that is dheki, an eco friendly method where water flowed through hollow bamboo pipes, ensuring equal distribution across fields. A natural version of today's drip irrigation. Okay, one more interesting example is water lifting innovations. First one is your Persian wheels. These hand operated systems lifted groundwater using a synergy of Akash, space, and Vayu air, showcasing the ancient understanding of hydrodynamics. So, what is the modern connections? Our watershed management programs today, which focus on rainwater conservation and sustainable irrigation, mirror these ancient techniques. The wisdom of the past is not outdated. It's a blueprint for our future. What are the reflections? If ancient societies thrived with such smart water management, why do we struggle with water scarcity today? How can we reintroduce these methods in modern agriculture? Think once. Now we will try to understand the importance of fire in agricultural practices. Imagine walking up before dawn and feeling the first rays of sunlight touch your skin. That warmth, that energy, our ancestors knew it was not just light but life itself. In Indian tradition, Surya is the giver of energy, fueling not only human life but also the entire agricultural system. The power of Agni was harnessed in every stage of farming, from nourishing crops to preserving food, from soil regeneration to aligning planting cycles with cosmic rhythms. Now, let's talk about the traditional agricultural practices using Agni. First example is solar dyeing and preservation. Sunlight was the natural preservative. Farmers used solar drying to store grains safely and dry cow dung cakes, uplas, for fuel, ensuring nothing went to waste. Now, second example is controlled burning and nutrient recycling. Sweden agriculture, that is shifting cultivation, a technique where small patches of land were burned to recycle nutrients into the soil. This practice was carefully timed and regulated, maintaining soil fertility for future planting. The next example is seasonal timing and cosmic alignments. Ancient Indian farmers synchronized their planting with the solar calendar. For example, Makar Sankranti marked the ideal time for winter crop planting as the sun transitioned into Capricorn, signaling longer daylight hours. The solstices and equinoxes determined sowing and harvesting periods, ensuring maximum yield with minimal resource depletion. Now, if we see the modern connections of it today, we can see a resurgence of these solar driven practices in modern agroecology. Another example is solar power irrigation. It reduces dependence on fossil fuels. Biochar, a form of charcoal created through controlled burning, enhances soil fertility just like ancient Sweden techniques or shifting cultivation. Now we will see the wisdom of Agni, what teaches the wisdom of Agni, which is timeless technique. It reminded us that fire is not just destruction, it's renewal, transformation, and sustenance. Now we will see the importance of Vayu in agriculture. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine standing in a lush green field. A gentle breeze brushes past, carrying the scent of fresh soil and blooming flowers. This is Vayu, the life giving force of wind, a silent yet powerful player in traditional Indian farming. In ancient wisdom, air was not just a physical element, it was a dynamic force that shaped crops, regulated moisture, and sustained biodiversity as well. Without Vayu, there would be no pollination, no seed dispersal, and no aeration for healthy soil. Let's talk about the traditional agricultural practices using Vayu. First practice is windbreaks for protection. Farmers planted neem and khejri trees around fields to act as natural wind barriers, preventing soil erosion and protecting delicate crops from strong gusts. The another practice is crop diversity and wind pollination. The polyculture framing, Navadanya, means growing multiple crops together, ensured that wind-borne pollination enhanced genetic diversity and improved yield stability. Another practice is soil aeration for healthier crops. Plowing, Hal Krishi, was not just about turning soil, it was about allowing air to penetrate deep into the earth, maintaining soil porosity and supporting beneficial microbes. If we look for the modern connections, today's sustainable agriculture revives these air centric practices. Agroforestry models, which integrate trees into farmlands, just like traditional windbreaks. Cover crops and crop rotation improve soil aeration and natural fertilization. Precision farming leverages wind patterns for efficient irrigation and pesticide reduction. Vayu teaches us balance. It reminds us that air is not just movement, it's energy, resilience, and renewal. Now we will see the importance of space in agricultural practices. Imagine looking up at the night sky where the moon, stars, and cosmic energies influence life on the earth. In ancient Indian agriculture, space was more than just emptiness. It was a guiding force that dictated the rhythms of sowing, harvesting, and ecological harmony. Farmers aligned their practices with cosmic rhythms, nakshatras, lunar cycles, and celestial events, ensuring that agriculture remained in sync with nature's grand design. Let's talk about traditional agricultural practices using Akash. What is lunar cycles and farming? Farmers followed the Shukla Paksha, that is waxing moon, for planting, as the increasing lunar energy was believed to enhance crop growth and water retention. Vertical farming and space utilization. The concept of Akash was used practically. Climbing plants like beans were grown on maize stalks, maximizing vertical space and improving land efficiency. Another practice is sacred groves and biodiversity conservation. Certain forest patches, known as sacred groves, were preserved as biodiversity hotspots, ensuring ecological balance and protection of rare species connected to the sky and cosmos. If we look for modern connections of it, today's farming revives these cosmic traditions. Biodynamic agriculture still follows lunar planting cycle for improved yield. Vertical farming and agroforestry maximize space like traditional intercropping. Conservation agriculture echoes the ethos of sacred groves by preserving biodiversity. So, Akash teaches us interconnectedness. It reminds us that farming is not just about the soil, it's about the cosmic dance of time, space, and natural balance. When all five elements are honored, farming becomes a dialogue with nature, not a conquest. What if nature itself held the secrets to sustainable farming? Ancient India's elemental agriculture was based on the Panch Mahabhuta, five great elements ensuring long term fertility, ecological balance, and resilience, all without synthetic chemicals. Today, modern agriculture faces soil degradation, water scarcity, and climate crisis because it disrupts this natural balance. Heavy chemical use, monocropping, and excessive irrigation have pushed ecosystem to the brink. So where is the solution? The solution is reviving Panch Mahabhuta based practices like ZBNF, that is zero budget natural farming. For example, Andhra Pradesh model. It's a chemical free approach that works with nature instead of against it. Relies on desi cow dung and urine, that is Prithvi, rain fed irrigation, Jal, solar energy, Agni, and organic aeration, Vayu. Farmers rejuvenate the soil instead of depleting it. Beej Bachao Andolan, the seed sovereignty movement. Traditional farmers in Uttarakhand protect indigenous seed diversity through natural selection. Respects the Akash or cosmic connection by aligning planting with lunar cycles. Ensures food security and biodiversity. Preventing corporate seed dependence. So, what can we learn from it? Regenerative agriculture. It's not new. Our ancestors already practiced it. Nature based solutions like rainwater harvesting and organic manures are essential for resilience. Farmers today can integrate ancient wisdom with modern techniques for truly sustainable agriculture. Here is the conservation techniques in the table. Throughout history, Indian agricultural traditions have worked in harmony with nature, ensuring soil fertility, water conservation, and biodiversity. Many of these practices, recorded in ancient texts and community, find direct parallels in modern sustainable farming in the table given on the slide. Kautilya's Arthashastra mandated fines for harming fertile soils. Bunds slowed water runoff, while Gomutra, cow urine, acted as natural pesticides. Even today, Rajasthan's Khadins check dams outperform concrete structures in groundwater recharge. Now, what can we learn from this? Ancient techniques were climate smart. They emphasized soil health, water conservation, and natural cycles. That is the key concerns of today. Revival of these methods can reduce chemical dependency, restore degraded land, and improve resilience to climate change. Now we will see the policy integration. These time tested practices should be embedded in modern agricultural frameworks also, like India's National Mission for Sustainable Agriculture, that is NMSA. Sustainability is about looking back to move forward. Now we will see the water soil synergy techniques in ancient Indian knowledge system. Let's travel back in time. Before pipelines and pumps, when communities worked in harmony with nature, in Bihar, the Aharpine system was not just irrigation, it was a lifeline. Imagine carefully dug channels connecting rivers to farmlands, managed by the villagers themselves. A truly grassroots water democracy. It not only watered the crops but recharged the soil with nutrients. Down south in Tamil Nadu, the Eri tanks, some over 2000 years old, are brilliant examples of how rainwater harvesting met soil conservation. These tanks did not just store water, they cleverly captured silt, enriching the soil every season. Silt from Eris was dredged annually to replenish fields. Result: zero chemical inputs plus 400% higher biodiversity than modern farms. This is not just engineering, it's ecological wisdom passed down through generations. And the best part? These models are being revived today in sustainable farming movements. Now we will see the biodiversity as insurance. Imagine walking through a field where not just one but nine different crops sway in harmony. Millets, pulses, oil seeds, each one playing its own role in nourishing the soil, the body, and the community. Now, this is the philosophy behind Navadanya, a traditional Indian practice that treats biodiversity as insurance. Just like we don't put all our savings in one place, our ancestors didn't rely on a single crop. They built resilience through diversity. Growing 12 crops together was not chaos, it was risk management actually. If pests attacked rice, legumes fixed nitrogen as backup. Other than this, it was also like ensuring that if one crop failed, the others would still provide food and income. And here is where the heartbeat of sustainability lies in the hands of women. Across India, women led Beej Raksha collectives are quietly preserving native seeds like tweezers. These are not just seeds, they are stories, strategies, and survival kits passed down through generations. In a world facing monoculture fatigue, climate shocks, and food insecurity, these practices reminds us that true food security is not about mass production. It's about smart shared preservation. So, I will leave you with this question. Can biodiversity be our climate insurance policy? If only we choose to honor it like our ancestors did. Now, we will try to understand the concept of sacred ecology. Let's pause for a moment and imagine this: a patch of forest left untouched for generations, not because of any law, but because it is considered sacred. Welcome to the Devara Kadus of Karnataka. Sacred groups where no branch is cut, no soil is tilled, and yet they work quietly as microclimate regulators, cooling the land, conserving moisture, and sheltering countless species. This is not just about reverence, it's ecological intelligence rooted in faith. These groups are living temples of sustainability, where spirituality and conservation go hand in hand. Now travel with me to the Thar Desert, where life thrives around a single species, the humble khejri tree, Prosopis cineraria. This tree of life is no ordinary plant. It fixes nitrogen in poor soils, provides fodder, fuel, and even shade in the blistering heat. But more than that, it's worshipped, protected, and woven into community life. It shows us that when ecology becomes sacred, conservation becomes effortless. So, here is something to think about. What if our forests, rivers, and soil were seen not as resources but as relatives? Sacred beings with rights, not just rules. Now I will share some interesting facts. Let's think about the Devra Karus of the sacred groups from Karnataka have been found to harbor higher biodiversity than nearby forest reserves, despite being unmanaged. The Khejri tree was at the heart of Bishnoi movements in the 1700s, where 363 villagers sacrificed their lives to protect trees, one of the earliest environmental movements in the world. Khejri is also, you can look at the left side visual. Khejri is also behind the popular Rajasthan dish sangri made from its pods, turning ecology into cuisines. Right side visual is also the Khejri tree from Rajasthan. Now we will see the example of Jabo farming from Nagaland. Let's travel to the lush hills of Nagaland, where an indigenous system called Jabo farming has quietly sustained communities for over 5 centuries. Yes, 500 years of successful eco friendly farming. The brilliance of Jabo lies in its harmonious integration. Terraced fill catch rainfall and prevent erosion. Small ponds store water and recharge the soil. Livestock is integrated to recycle nutrients and enrich the land. This is not just farming, this is ecological symphony in action, where nothing goes to waste and every element supports the other. Modern agriculture often separates water, livestock, and crops into soils, but Jabo reminds us that integration is the key to regeneration. Here is something to reflect on. Can the future of sustainable farming be found by looking to the past? What can we learn from a system that has thrived for centuries without synthetic inputs or external aid? Now, we will see the Panchvati concept in sacred groups. You have heard of gardens of paradise, but in ancient India, we had something even more. Panchvati. The Panch means five and Vati refers to a grove. The Panchvati is a cluster of five sacred trees, which we will see in the next slide. It was traditionally planted together in a grove or temple setting. These trees were considered spiritually powerful and ecologically beneficial. They represent a mini ecosystem aligned with the Panch Mahabhutas. See the five sacred trees varies by region but commonly includes peepal, banyan, neem, amla and ashoka. This was not just about planting trees, it's about planting values, balance, gratitude and coexistence. Panchvati reminds us that sacredness was not inside temple walls alone, it was growing, breathing and standing tall in the soil outside. These groups were often part of temple complexes, ashrams, or village outskirts, serving as biodiversity sanctuaries. They created microclimates, promoted pollination, and preserved native flora. Panchvati offered a sacred space for meditation, rituals, and healing, showing how ecology and spirituality merged in daily lives. Now we will see the importance of cow-based farming in agriculture. Our ancestors called the cow Go Mata, not just out of reverence, but because she nourished the soil, crops, and community as well, without a single drop of synthetic chemical. In today's world of chemical overuse and soil degradation, cow based farming offers a return to resilience, sustainability, and natural abundance. Cow dung, gomai, enriches the soil with organic carbon and beneficial microbes. Cow urine or gomutra acts as a natural pesticides and growth enhancer. Farmers reduce input costs by replacing expensive synthetic fertilizers and pesticides with Panchgavya, mix of five cow products. Cow-based inputs are the foundation of zero-budget natural farming and organic agricultural models across India today. In Andhra Pradesh, zero-budget natural farming revived ancient mulching. Yields rose by 30% while slashing costs. The takeaway? Ancient is not obsolete, it's overdue. Soil is not just carbon storage, it's civilization's memory. Now it's your turn. Support seed libraries, demand Ayush style institutes for our agroecology, and let's rewrite the future with ancient wisdom. Thank you.